I don't feel the way that I would expect to feel about that experience. Hello everyone, it's time for another tea time with Jay. I'm actually halfway down my tea this morning because it took me a minute or two to set up the camera. Today, I'm going to talk about something that has been, it's been in my life for more than a decade at this point, and I don't know really what the cause is. And I only really found out yesterday what it could be. And I'm not one to try to self-diagnose things. I think we all are to a degree, actually. There's me saying I don't self-diagnose, and of course we all do that a little bit. But for a very long time, I feel as though I've felt less joy for things than I should feel, right? And a part of that, I always thought in my mind, was because I've had so many amazing experiences with Tesseract that I feel as though I've had most experiences. I've been to most places. Like, compared to most people in the world, I've been to most places. I've seen most countries. I've eaten most foods. I've performed shows in these places, which, you know, that was everything I was trying to achieve. I feel as though the goals that I had when I was trying to decide what my life was going to be, I hit all of those maybe even a little earlier than I thought I would. Because when I was in school, the goal was be a drummer, be in a band. That band's got to be successful. It's got to be weird odd time signatures and things like that, because that's what I was interested in. And Tesseract has done all of that. And I've been a part of Tesseract. And since all of that has been true, there's almost been this dulling around everything else. So when I have some kind of achievement, when I do something that from the outside looking in would be like, wow, oh my gosh, you did that thing, I don't really feel anything about it, right? So, example, about a month ago, a little over a month ago, I fly to the UK to play this giant festival in Spain. Tesseract are billed really highly at this festival. We're working with a new management team for the first time. We've got huge production. It looks and sounds incredible. And yeah, I don't feel the way that I would expect to feel about that experience. I think most people would expect you to go on stage, be absolutely pumped, come off stage, be absolutely pumped, be really looking forward to it. Oh my gosh, be talking about it for ages afterwards. No, not really. Like, going on stage feels the same as going on all stages. I'm a little bit amped, but it normalizes because I've done it a load of times. I step off stage and we did have a good show. So there's like, I don't know, 20 minutes of like, oh, that was great, brilliant. Maybe even less than that. And then we get backstage. Some of the band members are on their phones. We're like, you know, changing out of sweaty clothes, getting a cool drink. Everyone just goes back into like normal mode and it's over. And then you don't really feel much about the thing that's just happened. And that feeling extends to most things for me at this point, which I learned yesterday through, I listened to a bunch of different podcasts that are all on self-development, basically. I love that stuff. I can dive into that stuff for days. It was the next podcast that just came up when I was driving to get some groceries yesterday morning. And it was a guy talking about depression and that this is a symptom of that. And I thought, that is interesting. And I listened to it a little further. And one of the other things that is a symptom of it is, let's say, for example, you have an experience that should bring you a huge amount of joy, right? So let's say you're going to a beach with your partner and your kids or your dog or something like that. And or maybe you go on a holiday with them. You got this big thing, right? And you're in that setting and you don't really feel any different than if you're at home or in your place of work doing the thing that you do. The feeling that's inside your body and your brain and your mind when you're involved in this thing, when you're doing it, in the act of doing it, you don't feel much different or any different. You don't feel a higher level of joy. And I would say that's mostly true for me. And what then happens is that people that are like this tend to optimize for the thing that is the most productive, which is 100% what I do. I spend most of my time in this room working on new drum lessons, working on the website, making new tools for the website, writing scripts for lessons, trying to just dial in this thing because I feel as though it's productive and it's pushing everything I'm trying to do forward. So that is the thing that brings me what I feel like is the most joy. But it isn't really a joy. It's just this, at the end of the day, I've made this thing that feels worthwhile. But surely the things that you enjoy doing, that you should enjoy doing, you know, back in the day, it would have been as simple as this new computer game has come out that I really want to play, and I would get it and I would play it and I would have an amazing time doing it. Me and a friend, a work colleague, in fact, used to live with me back in the day when I was in the UK. I remember going at midnight to go and get, I think it was Grand Theft Auto 4 when that came out. It was GTA 4 because 5 wasn't out. It was way before 5. We went and got the last 2 copies. So he got the last copy for Xbox. I got the last copy for PlayStation. We went back home and we played it until like 3 a.m. And in my mind, I remember like the feeling around that was huge. It was amazing. The feeling around the first Tesseract tour, the first couple of tours, you're like, oh my God, I get to go and do this. This is amazing. Even as hard as work as it is, you're getting in a van, you're driving around, it's loads and loads and loads of work. It's somehow, I've got more memories of that time. And they're all good memories, even though it was tough because you're just sitting in an uncomfortable van for hours, driving between shows, sleeping not very much. I've got more memories of that, and I associate more like joy, I suppose, in my mind to that. I remember a couple of years ago, we're in Monterrey in Mexico, and we're working with a photographer, and he asks me, it was my birthday, right? We were in Monterrey on my birthday, and for some reason, I was just miserable. I was just pissed off. And I shouldn't have been. I was just pissed off. I'd spent all day in this dressing room, really, and that was what was pissing me off, because it's like, come on, man, I want to do something nice. And really, when you think about it, I'm in this place in Mexico. I could go out and see some stuff. I'm about to play this show on my birthday. Like, who wouldn't want to do that? That's amazing. But I was just miserable all day. And he asked me, like, what was one of your best birthdays? And my snap response was, oh, probably when I was a kid, when I was young and I got loads of presents and stuff and I was around my family. And that is like, okay, so when you got loads of stuff, when I think back to that answer, my response was, I got loads of stuff. That shouldn't be why you had a good day. But birthdays now, I suppose when you get older, they change a little bit, don't they? So maybe the feeling, do you remember when you were a kid, you had a feeling that it was your birthday? I definitely felt like that. There was a feeling associated with your birthday. Same with Christmas. It's just like this kind of all body feeling. And I suppose that's joy. I suppose that's what it is. And I can't remember the last time I had that. It's a strange thing. And a possible solution to it, if it is depression, because I wouldn't say I just feel depressed all the time. To me, that the word depression, it conjures an image of someone that's just in absolute despair and can't get out of bed. And I can do all of that. I can get out of bed. I like getting out of bed. I like starting work, but I don't feel joy about the things that I feel I should feel joy about, and I tend to get anxious and pissed off about things instead. So the potential solution for this, to train yourself back into feeling better about things, is to intentionally try and do something every day that previously would have brought you joy. It would have put you in a place where you felt great and happy and like you're having fun. And yesterday, I did that for the first time in a long time. I stopped working at about 8 p.m. I stopped working on the website about 8 p.m. And I went into my bedroom, in my wife's bedroom, and we got a TV in there, and I put TV on, and I watched the new episode of South Park. That is amazing. I will say that. Oh my God. I was cry laughing at times. If you haven't seen it, it's amazing. Season 27, episode 1. Unbelievable. I don't know how they got away with that, but it's South Park, so they get away with everything. I watched that, and it was brilliant. And I wasn't looking at my phone. I wasn't like distracted in bullshit. I was just watching that, and it was good. And I had a fun time. And the other thing that I do is I enjoy painting little Warhammer models, right? When I was a kid, that brought me so much joy and so much peace. And I try and give myself, I'm trying conscious about stopping and having an afternoon and evening where I just paint once a week. Yes, that's a privilege. I get that. The lifestyle that I've designed enables me to do that, right? And when I do that, I find that I have this huge reset, and I feel good. And eventually I've got this thing that I'm holding that I've painted that I'm proud of, and that's also a feeling. And they're on my shelf here, and when I look up and see them, that brings me a certain feeling of joy as well. But I want to get to a stage where I've got that feeling about doing the things that I do with Tesseract, and just, I suppose, more simple things that previously would have brought me joy. So anyway, this is maybe a deeper one than any of you were expecting, and it's a little bit of an insight into my world and my life, but it's also the truth, right? And I think more people talking about this kind of stuff, it can only help, because I'm sure I'm not the only person that feels like this. So if you feel like this, I'm going to link you to the podcast I was listening to below. Have a listen to that, because the first 20 minutes of it, I felt as though I had hornets flying around in my head. I was like, oh my God, this is me. It was this feeling of, like, I was realizing as I was listening to it. And also just like, I don't know what the word is. I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but it was so obvious that, yeah, okay, this is almost certainly, without going and seeing someone, this is what I'm feeling. I'm almost sure this is me. But it gave some ideas around what you can do to help yourself. And I think that's the important thing, because you don't want to just trudge through life feeling numb to all of the beautiful things that you could feel amazing about. So I'm going to leave this here. I'm going to drink what's left of this cold tea. I've got a snoring dog down here. The entire time I've been talking, she's been going. So if that's in the background of this entire conversation, I apologize, although there's not much I can do, because I'm not going to wake a sleeping dog. So anyway, I'm going to go and do a bit more work, and then I'm going to stop and do something that I feel ought to bring me joy. And I'm going to try and practice doing that more and more. And I'll catch you in the next one of these.